I'm gonna be honest with you guys, the title of this video is a lie. Because in the title, I said that there's one big problem with the NBA nowadays. When in fact, I could probably name three off the top of my head. I mean, the ratings are down, the refs can barely see, and somehow there are people who are still fans of the Sacramento Kings. And I mean no disrespect to the Sacramento Kings when I say that, but let's be honest here. You live in California, and you had the choice between three great basketball teams, and you for some reason chose the Sacramento Kings. Luckily, they're not as bad as they were a couple years back, but still, man, come on. You could have made a better decision than that. But to be honest, that's not really what this video is about, because this video is about me talking about one of the biggest problems I have with the NBA nowadays, and it has to do with the NBA Replay Center, one of the more controversial things that have been kind of integrated into the game in the past couple years or so. It's been around for a little bit now, but it's kind of become a lot more common, especially now that coaches can challenge plays. It's become a lot more common nowadays. So the whole purpose of the NBA Replay Center is for them to basically look back and analyze a play or controversial call, whatever it may be, whether it's late in the game or a controversial foul that might put a player in foul trouble, whatever it is. That's the main point of the system. And it's not even the system itself that's bad, because at the end of the day, it's a smart thing to add, especially considering the fact that people are always complaining about this and that and trying to figure out what's going on. Now that you have it all right there on that small little screen, you can just look back on the play and make the decision. And you would have thought that because they had the NBA Replay Center in, they would never miss a play. But it's literally the opposite. It seems like they've missed more plays even after this Replay Center has been brought in. But one of the main problems I have with the Replay Center is the amount of time it takes, alright? Now you would think that because there's a small little monitor that literally has the entire play by play with a bunch of angles of it, the refs would somehow be able to figure out the call very quick. Alright? Because, I mean, the play is right there. They have every single angle that anyone can see. You only get some of the angles I see on TV. But it still somehow takes these refs 30 minutes to actually figure out what the call is. And that's ridiculous to me. Because the one thing that the NBA has been having problems with for the last 3 or 2 years or so is the ratings, alright? The ratings for the NBA have been down. The viewership has been down. Now, there are a lot of different variables that have caused that. One could obviously be the fact that illegal streaming of it has kind of blown up a little bit more. I wouldn't even say blown up, but it's just gotten a little bit more popular at this point. And not only that, but the main reason is because cable has become like almost defunct at this point. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see cable by 2030. I'd be surprised if it's even like people are still have that. But the thing about it is that when you bring these people, these casual fans who have never actually watched an NBA game before, or maybe this is one of their first times ever watching it, and you have them sitting there for about 15 to 30 minutes with nothing actually going on, of course they're going to press off. Of course they're not going to stay there to watch the game and see a call that they might not even care about, because I mean it's just two random teams. So that's the big problem that I have with this. When you take so long to actually get the game moving, it slows everything down, and from then a game that's supposed to be about 2 hours and 30 minutes, that's the average time for an NBA game, ends up going 3 hours, 3 hours and 10 minutes, 3 hours and 20 minutes, whatever it might be. And it's ridiculous, especially for people on the west coast, on the East Coast actually, that are trying to watch a West Coast games, because you know that these West Coast games start at like 10:30, 11 at night, and then those things go into like 1 in the morning. Now they're going to be going until 1:30, 1:45 in the morning, and that's ridiculous. No one's going to stay up that early to watch it, and that's the big problem. Now, as I stated earlier, I'm all for the NBA Replay Center because I think it's a really smart integration to the game, especially with the kind of refs we have nowadays. But the big problem is the fact that it's taking way too long for the refs to actually figure out what the cause is, and that's one of the big problems that I find with the game nowadays. Now, this whole thing is going to seem very minor to the normal NBA fan, because just like me, you're going to go and watch the entire game through because you're a big fan of the NBA, and maybe it's your favorite team playing or whatever it may be. But believe me, the NBA is losing viewership, and the last thing that it needs to do is to push the games for longer than it has to be. So while I think that the NBA Replay Center is a great integration into the game, they have to find a way to make these refs get the calls done much quicker and get these replays done as fast as they can. Because I'm going to be honest, the NBA ratings are going down and they're declining over the years, and pushing these games for longer than 2 hours and 30 minutes is definitely not helping it.